Okay, good afternoon. In fact, I was just about to say good afternoon, but good morning to our women entrepreneurs from Senegal, from Mozambique, from Tanzania, from Kenya, from Cameroon, from Togo. You're all welcome to another masterclass series, which is how to develop a cohesive business plan. Again, we've had 2 sessions on how to develop a cohesive business plan, how to understand financial projections. And we thought it was important to go over it again, led by one of our very, very vibrant facilitator, Omomi Adenuga. She's a business consultant who has handled business plan development with, startups and also with entrepreneurs such as yourself. So she's going to be handling the session today. And again, to introduce myself, my name is IYBA WE4A. I work at the Tonelli Foundation as the Entrepreneurship Program Manager. Supporting me today are my colleagues, Aisha, who is the Alumni Engagement Executive and Entrepreneurship Program Executive. We also have our translators, Foko Rollins from Cameroon, who is also a mentor on the program, and Nadia, who's from Sao Tome and Principe. She's also one of our TF alumni, very active, dedicated, and committed to the program. So again, just to say welcome to this session, encouraging everyone to pay close attention, jot notes down, take screenshots if you have to, pay close attention, and please just put down your questions, because after the session, you all have an opportunity to, ask questions and get very, very robust and comprehensive response from our facilitator. So again, I say welcome to everyone, and I wish us, a successful session. So over to you, Nadia and Foko, to please translate to French and Portuguese, and we can start the session and hand over to Omomi Adenuga. Over to you, Foko and Nadia. Thank you.
Thanks, beaucoup. Bom dia a todos, bem-vindos a essa sessão onde nós vamos falar sobre como desenvolver um plano de negócio coeso. Este porque é um aspecto muito importante para empreendedor como você que está nesse programa e que precisará de desenvolver o seu plano de negócio. Haverá outra sessão sobre como desenvolver a demonstração financeira, mas este aqui é virado ao plano de negócio. E a facilitadora é a consultante Omonumi, que é alguém que já vem a trabalhar por muitos anos e tem experiência nesse sentido. Também conosco está a Ibukun e a Isha da Fundação. Eu vou estar a ajudar com a tradução para português e nós temos também o Foucault que fará a tradução para francês. Mais uma vez, bem-vindos e tentem tirar o máximo dessa sessão. Obrigada. Foucault, over to you. Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue une fois de plus à cette session de masterclass sur comment faire un business plan cohérent. Donc aujourd'hui, on va encore revenir sur cette thématique afin de vous permettre de développer vos business plans dans les différents pays. Et après ça, on aura la session sur l'analyse financière à travers le fichier Excel qu'on vous a envoyé, le template, aussi que le pitch. Donc une fois de plus, bienvenue à cette session. Soyez très attentifs. Je suis Roland Foucault, facilitateur francophone. Over to you, Ibukun.
All right, thank you very much, Foucault. So please, we'll now hand over to Omomi Adenuga to now take us on how to develop a cohesive business plan. So please, entrepreneurs, please just pay attention, stay by your phones, take notes, jot down, so that you can, get the best from this session and get the best information and learning. So over to your mommies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibuka, and good morning once again, everyone. It's my pleasure to host this session as has been done in previous years, and I would go right into it. First of all, congratulations for making it this far, and want to wish you the very best in this program. I will just go straight into it because of time. And today we're going to go through how to develop a cohesive business plan. The focus for this session is to really break down and demystify the business plan for you. It's a document. It might come across as a technical document, but it's really straightforward once you understand the logic, the essence of the business plan. Is essentially you telling the story of your business in a structured approach and in a compelling manner that makes it clear what you are trying to do as a business and where you need support, what you have done so far, how you have thought about how your business is going to be created, create products, sell products, make profits, and where you want partners and investors to come in. So it is the story you already know, and it's just presenting it in a structured manner. And I want all of us to feel very confident about this process, and that's why we are going through this exercise. So if we think about it, focused on the slide right now, your business plan is the story of your business. You are essentially trying to answer anything between 7 to 8 questions. You're answering, here is what I'm building, your product and your service. You're answering, here is why I'm building it, why are you building it, your vision, your mission. Here's the evidence it can be successful based on what the market needs. And that's what you answer in your market research section. Here's what I'm doing or what I plan to do to make my business successful. That's what you answer in your operating plan section. Here is who is building or is going to build with me. You answer that in your management and organization section. Here's what success will look like and when it will happen. You answer that in your implementation and milestone section. Here's what's likely to earn and what I'm likely going to spend on it over the next 3 to 5 years. Those are your financial projections. And here's what I need from you to make it happen. That's your funding ask. So I will pause now for translations. Nadia, over to you, and then following that, Foucault.
Thank you. Ok, então, a senhora, como me diz aqui, que ela é experiente em elaborar plano de negócio e é experiente em passar este tipo de sessão, já vem a fazê-lo há anos. Portanto, vocês têm que tirar o máximo dessa sessão. O objetivo desta sessão é basicamente desmistificar o plano de negócio. Muita gente olha para o plano de negócio como se fosse um bicho, um gigante. No entanto, ele não é nada mais, nada menos do que contar a história do vosso negócio. Portanto, é tudo aquilo que vocês sabem, mas trazê-lo, apresentá-lo de uma forma estruturada. Vocês vão falar desde o que é o vosso negócio, o que é o produto ou serviço que vocês vão vender, até falar do que é que vocês estão a construir, o que é a vossa empresa, qual é a visão, qual é a missão que vocês têm. Vão responder também à questão que diz quais são as evidências que você tem do sucesso, o que é que você já fez. Através da pesquisa de mercado, vai demonstrar aonde você já chegou, onde você já alcançou e onde pretende alcançar. Você vai falar também do que você pretende apresentar como forma de chegar até o teu cliente. Qual é o plano que tem? Então, aí vai se falar do plano operacional, do plano de marketing. E depois, qual é a estrutura de que você vai ter para fazer crescer? Como é que você vai construir esse negócio? Portanto, vai falar aqui desde da gerência até a equipa que trabalhará consigo nesse negócio. E depois a questão que vai responder a seguir é: o que é sucesso? Como é que é o sucesso? Como é que eu posso medir o sucesso? Isso através da implementação e dos marcos, o importante do negócio. E outra coisa que é importante aqui analisar é a parte financeira. Portanto, as projeções financeiras não são nada mais, nada menos do que dizer o que é que eu vou ganhar, o que é que eu espero ganhar com este negócio, como que eu vou gastar, o que eu tenho que gastar nos próximos 3 a 5 anos. Basicamente, uma história do aspecto financeiro do seu negócio e, finalmente, o que é que você vai pedir, o que é que você pretende receber da pessoa para quem você está desenvolvendo esse plano de negócio, para fazer com que tudo aquilo que você falou atrás possa acontecer. Portanto, isso, em suma, isto é o que é o seu plano de negócio. Foco, over to you. Thank you.
OK, donc aujourd'hui, nous allons voir comment est-ce que vous devez élaborer votre business plan pour ce programme. Vous devez savoir que le business plan est l'histoire, et votre histoire, c'est l'histoire de votre entreprise. Et donc, c'est un outil structuré dans une approche qui permet de raconter l'histoire de votre affaire, l'histoire de votre entreprise. À ce propos-là, il est question pour vous de répondre à un certain nombre de questions, comme par exemple, qu'est-ce que je dois bâtir? Ça, c'est dans le produit et le service. Donc, qu'est-ce que je suis en train de bâtir? C'est le produit et le service parce que c'est ça qu'on va mettre à disposition de la clientèle. Pourquoi est-ce qu'on doit bâtir cette chose-là? Ça, c'est dans la description de l'entreprise, la vision et la mission. En plus, on dit quelles sont les choses qui vont permettre de réussir le projet. On se base sur quoi pour pouvoir mettre ces produits sur le marché? Quelles sont les évidences? Quelles sont les choses factuelles qui nous donnent la confiance qu'on aura un marché? C'est ça qu'on appelle, c'est ça, l'étude de marché permet de répondre aussi à cette question. Maintenant, il y a qu'est-ce que je dois faire concrètement, suivant quel plan, afin de réussir mon entreprise. On le verra à travers le plan opérationnel, le plan marketing. À la suite, on dit pour qui est-ce que je bâtis ces produits ou ces services? Comment est-ce que je procède pour que ça atteigne ces personnes-là? Donc, on aura dans à ce niveau-là, nous parlerons du management, de la gestion et de l'organisation de l'entreprise. Donc, après, maintenant, il faudrait voir, pour réussir, ça doit ressembler à quoi? Qu'est-ce qu'on fait donc concrètement? Ça, c'est ce qu'on appelle la mise en œuvre du projet et les étapes importantes qui vont permettre de matérialiser notre entreprise. Alors, à la fin, on va aussi voir quelles sont les projections financières, c'est-à-dire comment est-ce qu'on fait pour gagner de l'argent. Est-ce que le projet est rentable? Est-ce que sur les 3 à 5 ans, nous pouvons apporter un plan convaincant pour les investisseurs? Donc, voilà globalement comment ça se passe et quel est le besoin à laquelle nous voulons apporter une réponse. C'est ça qui est la demande. Parce que vous devez finir votre business plan en disant exactement, vous avez besoin de tel montant. Et c'est que la fondation met à votre disposition, c'est 5 000 $ gratuitement que vous devez pouvoir justifier. Over to you, Omuyumi.
Thank you, Poco. So we move on to the next slide. So what we plan to do today is to walk through the business plan templates that you've been provided to by the Tunmilu Foundation. And this business plan, the template has about 12 sections, essentially 10 functional sections because you have your executive summary and your appendix. And this is what it looks like. You write your introduction, your company description, product and services, market research, your organization, marketing and sales strategy, operational plan, funding requests, financial projections, implementation plan, and appendices. So what you can do, this slide over here, you can take a screenshot of this slide so that it becomes a guide for you, a checklist, so that you know that you have completed all the sections that you need to complete in your business plan. And once you have any section complete, you can tick it so that at any point in time, you know how far you have progressed in the development of your business plan and what you still outstanding to complete. Note that not every section may apply for every type of business. For instance, when we look at the appendices, some businesses do not need permits or licenses. If you do not have testimonials or references in your business, you might not need those as well. So I'm going to go to the first page in your business plan, your cover page. Your cover page is the first thing anyone sees when they're looking at your business plan. So you want to make it stand out and to be as true to your brand as much as possible. Use your logo. If you have a logo, use your logo. Use images of your products if you have them. Use pictures of your customers using your product. So bring your cover page to life. When we open your business plan, your cover page is the first page we see. Let it start to market you. Let it present your business in a very beautiful way, as much as possible. And even if you don't have images, use your color scheme, use good styling. And then make sure you reflect all the information requested by the TEF guidelines. Reflect your name, your business name, reflect your business contacts as address, phone numbers, email address, your business logo, and a brand logo. So if you are thinking of ways to make your business plan beautiful, there are examples here, example pictures I've put here that you can use as a guideline, and then you can also screenshot this image as this slide as well, just for inspiration. I will pause now. I'll pause now for translation. Over to you, Nadia.
Thank you, please. Yes, thank you. Ok, então, nós vamos começar por falar aqui do que é como um modelo, ok? A base, um modelo do que é um plano de negócio. E a recomendação é que vocês façam uma foto, uma captura de ecrã deste slide, porque este slide é importante. Este slide vai vos indicar, vos orientar do que é o conteúdo, quais são os conteúdos que o plano de negócio deve conter. Obviamente que há aspectos que são um pouco mais específicos de cada negócio. Por exemplo, aqui, quando nós olhamos para o anexo, o apêndice, vocês podem ver que há negócios que, por exemplo, não precisa de um certo tipo de licença, não precisa de uma permissão. Então, obviamente que esse anexo não vai estar lá. Mas, do resto, tudo, desde o sumário executivo, a introdução, falar sobre a empresa em si, falar do seu produto, fazer a pesquisa do mercado, a organização, ou seja, a equipa de trabalho. Qual é o plano de marketing e de venda, o plano operacional, a necessidade do fundo que você tem, a projeção financeira, a implementação, enfim, tudo isso deve conter no seu plano de negócio, ok? Can you please move to the next slide? Thank you. Is it Aisha that is moving? Next slide, please. Ok, thank you. Então, nós vamos começar por falar sobre a capa. O que é a capa do livro? Porque a capa é muito importante. Até existe um provérbio que diz que o livro, muitas vezes compra-se o livro pela capa. Portanto, porque a capa atrai ou repele. Então, você tem que fazer a capa do seu negócio o mais bonito possível, o mais atrativa possível para manter a intenção do investidor ou de quem vai ler. Usa o seu logotipo, usa a sua paleta de cores do seu negócio. Se tiver imagens do seu produto ou serviço, coloque ali. Se tiver imagens de cliente a usar o seu produto, coloque na capa. Enfim, faça realçar a capa para vender o livro por ti. E, mais uma vez, aqui a recomendação. Estes são exemplos, alguns modelos de capas de plano de negócio bastante atrativas. Você, se quiser, faça foto ou captura de ecrã para depois, mais tarde, se referir. Foco, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. Donc, nous allons commencer par vous présenter la globalité du canevas de business plan dont on attend de vous de pouvoir l'écrire, l'élaborer de façon très cohérente. Dans ce business plan, vous avez un résumé sommaire qui permet de ressortir une introduction, quels sont vos objectifs, la proposition et quelques chiffres. Vous devez avoir une introduction qui donne un aperçu de votre entreprise, quels sont les stages où vous êtes déjà et la progression. Vous avez la description de la société qui va parler de l'histoire, la structure, la localisation, la vision, mission, les objectifs. Vous avez aussi le produit et le service. Comment est-ce que vous l'avez développé? Quels sont les process pour avoir le produit? Quelle est la valeur ajoutée? Et vous avez donné les caractéristiques de ce produit-là. Au niveau de l'étude des marchés, vous devez être capable de parler du secteur d'activité dans lequel votre entreprise intervient, faire une analyse de ce marché, indiquer les segments de marché qui vous intéressent, parler de l'analyse concurrentielle, parler de vos forces, faiblesses, opportunités et menaces et de tout ce qui est conformité légale avec le pays. Au niveau de l'organisation et du management, vous devez pouvoir faire un organigramme opérationnel, vous devez montrer quelle est votre équipe de gestion, vous devez montrer quelles sont les compétences et surtout quel est le plan de recrutement, quel est le plan de carrière que vous avez pour les personnes qui travaillent avec vous. Sur le plan de marketing et des ventes, il est question pour vous de présenter un plan marketing, de présenter un plan de vente, de dire comment est-ce que vous allez faire la tarification de vos produits, d'indiquer les éléments qui permettent de toucher les clients, c'est-à-dire les supports de communication et de présenter l'unité économique. Au niveau du plan opérationnel, vous devez parler des process, de tout ce qui est équipement, de la chaîne d'approvisionnement, le contrôle qualité et surtout les risques de gestion. Ensuite, parlez de votre demande, c'est-à-dire qu'est-ce que vous avez besoin comme financement. Ça peut être en capital, en equity, dans l'empatrie de participation par d'autres personnes. Comment est-ce que vous allez utiliser ces fonds-là? Quelles sont vos différentes sources de financement et comment faire pour atteindre les objectifs? Au niveau de la projection financière, vous devez parler de votre revenu. C'est vrai que ici, le document Excel qu'on va vous envoyer vous permettra de faire les calculs financiers au niveau du plan d'investissement, au niveau de compte de pertes et profits, de la capacité d'autofinancement, du bilan et de l'analyse du seuil de rentabilité. Donc voilà un ensemble d'éléments que vous allez travailler à travers le fichier Excel et générer ce qui correspond exactement à votre entreprise. Au niveau de la mise en œuvre, vous devez indiquer quelles sont les différentes étapes importantes. Soit vous les avez déjà accomplies, soit elles sont à accomplir. Vous devez dire comment vous faites pour faire le suivi et l'évaluation de votre entreprise et monitorer totalement la mise en place de l'entreprise. Pour finir, il y a un annexe qui vous permet de mettre tous les documents que vous avez utilisés pour présenter tout ce que je venais de citer. Ça peut être les permis, ça peut être la licence, ça peut être le registre de commerce, ça peut être vos statuts, ça peut être l'image des produits, les plans des bâtiments, les machines, bref, tout ce qui peut venir justifier ce que vous êtes en train de présenter. Next, please. Next, please. OK. On vous parle aussi de comment vous allez faire la présentation de la couverture. La couverture doit être quelque chose de beau, d'agréable à voir, qui doit tenir compte de votre charte graphique, de votre identité graphique. Vous devez, sur cette couverture, mettre les éléments de localisation physique, dire qui est le promoteur, mettre votre logo et le titre en termes d'activité de votre business. Donc, pour cela, on vous a mis quelques exemples de couverture de business plan. Ça doit vraiment être très beau, avec des informations essentielles qu'on vous indiquera dans la suite. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would move on to the introduction section. So what we're going to do in this session is to take each of the sections one after the other. As part of taking each of section after the other, I have added an example business so that when we're talking about executive summary, you can see a sample page of an executive summary for a sample business. It's not a business that is part of this stream, but it's just to it's just over here as a guide so that you have a sense of how detailed your business plan should look like. So the executive summary will have your brief introduction. You would have your business purpose. So for instance, this is the brief introduction for this example business. Natural Glue, a skincare manufacturing business located in Botswana. So you would have your name, your business location, your ownership structure, and also what you do in your business. You would also have your business purpose. Share a brief overview of your business, describing what your business does, what problem it's solving, and what makes it unique. What are your business goals? Describe what your short-term and your long-term business goals are. For example, this business, it has been highlighted here. They stated what their short-term and long-term goals are. What's your investment proposition? So you're seeking an investment of $5,000. What do you need it for? How are you going to how would you use it across your business? What's the intended business impact? How much socioeconomic value will you create with your investments? And then what are your key financial highlights of your business? What's your summary of your projected revenues, your profits, your budget, and your funding needs? So this is expressed in the executive summary. Now we move on to the next section, section 2 of 12, your introduction. And then in your introduction, you will provide an overview of your business. So as you can see, the example is also included as well in the business overview in this slide as well. So for introduction, you write an overview of your business, state the stage of the business. Is it idea? Is it growth? Is it market research stage, market entry stage? And then if it's already an existing business, just state the progress you have made so far and what has spurred you to taking the next steps for which you are writing this business plan. So for instance, this natural glow business, they have been growing, they're in a growth stage, but now they're facing capacity constraints. The current equipment and staffing is not enough, so it's limiting their ability to meet growing demand. And then they don't have the standardized production processes. So this is why they are seeking financing at this stage. And then they just summarize what their business plan is going to do, how their strategy to overcome these limitations, to scale their operations. This is for a growth stage business. If you're an idea stage business, your own reason will be different. You won't need to put business progress, or you put your business stage. At this point in time, I will pause for translations. Nadia, over to you. Thank
you. Ok, então nós vamos começar aqui a quebrar esses capítulos do plano de negócio um a um, analisar cada um. E para melhor entenderem, a senhora trouxe como exemplo um negócio fictício que vocês verão aqui do lado direito do ecrã. Vai estar portanto, quando se fala de um capítulo, fala-se nesse caso, estamos a falar de sumário executivo, ali tem um exemplo de um sumário executivo de um negócio específico, de forma a vocês verem o que é que se espera, como é que se espera que vocês escrevam aquilo que se pede. Nesse caso, para sumário executivo, o que é que se espera? Espera-se ali que você compartilhe quem é você, quem é o negócio, onde é que está localizado. Qual é o propósito desse negócio? Por que o negócio existe? Qual é o problema que você resolve? O que é que o torna único? O que é que você faz de diferente para o tornar especial no mercado? Vai falar também do seu objetivo, vai falar do que é preciso, o que é que você precisa. O que é que você precisa para chegar a um novo passo? Qual é o impacto que você trará com este apoio? E, obviamente, que também entrará num sumário do que é a demonstração financeira. Depois nós estamos na introdução. Next, please. Chegamos no capítulo da introdução. O que é que vai se ver ali a introdução? Aqui vai haver um pouco você falar sobre em que etapa você está, não é? Se você está na etapa da ideação, no início, ou está na etapa do crescimento e desenvolvimento, enfim. E falar da necessidade, nesse caso, se você já está numa etapa de desenvolvimento e crescimento, você deve falar com dados concretos. Deve ter provas, deve ter mais elementos para apresentar, desde desafios que enfrenta, por que você vai impedir esse financiamento, onde que esse financiamento vai levá-lo. Quer dizer, você terá mais elementos do que se você estiver numa fase de arranque ou de ideação a dar os primeiros passos. Ok? De seguida veremos os próximos capítulos. Foco over to you, thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. Donc, pour ce qui concerne le résumé exécutif, voici ce que vous devez faire exactement. Vous devez pouvoir présenter le nom de votre entreprise et sa localisation, et aussi la structure du capital. Vous devez décrire globalement qu'est-ce que votre entreprise fait, quel est le problème résolu, quelle est la solution et l'unicité de la solution que vous apportez. Quels sont vos objectifs à court, moyen et long terme? Quelle est la proposition d'investissement que vous faites pour le montant exact de 5 000 $? Comment est-ce que quel est l'impact que vous allez faire au sein de votre entreprise et quel est le montant de revenus que cela pourra générer? Et à la fin du résumé exécutif, vous mettez quelques faits saillants de votre analyse financière tel qu'on vous le montrera. Next, please. Après le résumé exécutif, vous avez l'introduction. En introduction, vous devez présenter ce que vous avez fait comme activité de recherche et développement, dire si votre produit est déjà sur le marché et surtout à quel niveau d'évolution est-ce que vous êtes. Alors, pour les activités qui sont déjà, les sociétés qui sont déjà créées et qui sont en activité, il sera aussi question de montrer quelles sont les opérations qui ont été faites, comment ça se passe et rassurer votre auditoire, c'est-à-dire les investisseurs, sur les prochaines étapes qui vont être faites. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Foucault. So we move on to the third section now. That's the company description, third out of the 12 sections. In company description, focus on the guidelines here below. It says you share your company history, your information about when and where you started the business. And like I said, there's an example provided here and just highlighting the example. So for instance, this company shared their company history. They said they were founded in November 2023 by a cosmetologist and all of that. Then you also share your business structure. What's the legal structure of your business? Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it a partnership? Is it a corporation? And then this business, sample business, they've done it for themselves here. Share your location and your facilities. Share details about your business location, facilities. If you do not have facilities, what are your plans to have one? And how do you plan to expand it if you have one? So you specify what your facility looks like. Then you move to your strategic aspirations, your vision statement. State your vision statement and you state your mission statement. Your vision statement is what you want your company to become eventually. And your mission statement is simply the purpose for which your business is set up and is trying to achieve. And then an example here. And then finally, for your company description section, you indicate your business objectives. So you see here, they give example of short-term, medium-term, and long-term objectives. And one thing you want to be mindful of when you're defining your objectives is make sure they are SMART. Make sure you're setting SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. So you notice that they have timestamps. It's very specific what they want to do. They put the timestamps to show the time that they are expecting to complete achieve this objective. So you just list out your short, medium, and long-term objectives. That brings to that's the company description section in a nutshell. Then we move on to the next section, which is product and service. Your product and service section, is also ideally a 2 to 3 page, sometimes even a 1-pager if you don't have a lot of products, a long line of products. So your product to service section, you would indicate your product line. That is the description of the products and the services you are offering, including the features, the benefits, and the pricing. So this skincare business, they produce a shea butter lotion and then they also produce African black soap, and then they listed it here. And then they have variants. So sometimes you have products that you're producing and you have variants. So they listed the variants for their shea butter lotion. They have lavender, lemongrass, cocoa, unscented herbal. I'm saying this because certain people, there's this confusion when you have a long range of services. Maybe you're in apparel, you're doing foods, you're doing skincare, and then you have a long range of services. You have products, you have products, and then you have variants of each product. You can very easily express and represent all of them in a very neat manner, like this business has done as an example. And then if you have any plan for research and development, you state that here. This business, for example, did not state such. Then what is your production process? Provide information about how your products are made or how your services are delivered. So for instance, this business provided a production process of how raw materials are processed through a multi-stage production process, ingredient preparation, mixing, addition, cooling, and all of that, and then packaging. And then you also provide information on your value proposition. How do you plan to stand out in the market? What makes your product and service unique compared to the current market offerings? How are you differentiating yourself? You can choose to differentiate yourself on cost, on availability, on accessibility, on quality, on innovation, on risk, risk aversion, that is, you're reducing the level of risk associated, or on convenience. I think I mentioned convenience. And then this business has listed their value proposition. And then finally, if you have intellectual property, have you registered your trademark or are you in the process of registering it? You can put it there. Or if you don't have, you can also skip this section. I will pause now for translations. Nadia, over to you. Moving back to the previous section.
Thanks, Yomoyo. Ok, então nós vamos agora entrar falar um pouco sobre a secção 3, seção 3 de 12, que fala da descrição da empresa. Mais uma vez, se vocês verem aqui do lado direito, tem o exemplo dessa empresa fictícia, desse negócio fictício, que vocês podem usar para entender melhor como é que se aplica. Mas em termos das linhas diretrizes, o que é que se espera neste capítulo? Aqui é para vocês partilharem a história da empresa. Como é que a empresa surgiu? Como é que começou? Onde é que começou? Por que que começou? Começou com quem? Qual é a estrutura da empresa? Onde é que a empresa está localizada? Que tipo de registro você tem na empresa? É uma unipessoal, é uma sociedade por cotas? Como é que é? Ok? Quais são os objetivos que você pretende alcançar com o seu negócio? E nesse caso, em termos de objetivos, é sempre bom quebrá-los, como vocês veem aqui no exemplo que foi aqui apresentado, os objetivos estão quebrados a curto prazo, médio prazo e longo prazo. E tentem sempre ser bem específico com o vosso objetivo, usar o objetivo SMART. Eu não sei se conhecem essa expressão, mas SMART quer dizer que ele tem que ser específico, ele tem que ser mesurável, ele deve ser realista, deve ser alcançável e deve estar ligado a um tempo, quer dizer, que será concluído num tempo. Portanto, os objetivos devem ser assim, ok? Next, please. O próximo slide fala-se do produto e serviço. Este slide que pode levar 2 a 3 páginas, dependendo do quantidade de produto e serviço que você tenha, é aqui onde você vai descrever o que é que de diferenciador, o que é que de importante o seu produto ou serviço tem. Mais uma vez, o exemplo está ali daquele negócio que vocês podem olhar. Mas vocês aqui vão descrever detalhadamente tudo sobre o vosso produto, as características, os benefícios, preços, enfim. Se vocês têm alguma pesquisa a desenvolver para um novo produto ou para melhorar o produto, aqui deve ser mencionada. O processo de produção deve ser mencionado aqui. Como é que é feito? Como é que a matéria-prima é tratada? O que é que ingredientes, enfim. Tudo isso deve estar detalhado aqui no processo de produto. Vocês devem também aqui colocar, como eu disse, a vossa proposta de valor, ou seja, o que é de único no vosso produto. Por que que o cliente há de preferir o vosso produto e não um produto do concorrente que está no mercado? E essa proposta de valor, esse diferenciador pode ser por causa da qualidade, pode ser por causa do preço, pode ser por causa do local onde vocês estão instalados, enfim. Mas você deve colocar aqui a proposta de valor e, por fim, deve também falar aqui, mencionar se tem alguma propriedade intelectual ligada ao seu produto. Tem alguma marca registrada? Tem alguma intenção de registrar a marca? Uma patente? Enfim, isto deve ser capturado tudo aqui, portanto, em 2 ou 3 páginas. E se você tiver múltiplos produtos, também pode colocar aqui os múltiplos produtos de forma bem ou limpa, bem organizada, bem estruturada. Não importa se são muitos produtos, você deve colocá-los também aqui. Por isso é que nós temos aqui, você pode levar 2 a 3 páginas nesse capítulo, ok? Foco, over to you.
Thank you, Nadia. Donc, la prochaine étape, c'est la description de votre entreprise. Dans la description de votre entreprise, vous devez parler de l'histoire de votre entreprise. De façon, comme on l'a dit, une histoire que vous racontez, ça doit être parlant, ça doit être captivant. Vous devez indiquer comment votre entreprise est structurée, la structure juridique, l'organisation, la gouvernance. Vous devez indiquer la localisation et comment est-ce qu'on fait. Indiquer si l'accès est facile sur votre site en fonction de l'activité que vous êtes en train de mener. Donc, sur un autre plan, vous devez montrer quelles sont vos aspirations à travers la déclaration de vision, la déclaration de mission et surtout les objectifs à court, moyen et long terme. Next, please. Après la description de la société, nous passons à la description des produits. Donc, en termes de produits, vous devez pouvoir indiquer exactement quelles sont les caractéristiques de votre produit en donnant le nom des produits, mettre les caractéristiques, mettre des images, indiquer comment est-ce que vous faites vos produits. Sur le plan commercial, bien évidemment, quelles sont les matières premières, qui sont vos fournisseurs, comment est-ce que vous inspectez cette matière première, comment est-ce que c'est transformé. Tout ça apparaît dans votre business plan. Est-ce que votre produit est protégé à l'OAPI? Si oui, vous devez indiquer les référents de votre protection. Sinon, vous devez quand même montrer votre intention à le protéger dans le futur. Quelle est la proposition de valeur? Qu'est-ce que votre produit apporte au client? Comment est-ce que le client est satisfait? Next, please.
This is where we paused, Foko.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I continue. We move on to the fifth section, which is the market research section. So in the market research section, you discuss your industry, market analysis, target segment, competitive analysis, SWOT, and regulatory. Note for this section, in the previous sections, you are using information that you have available. You are the one that created your business, so you know this business. For market research, the best type of market research sections are the ones where people go out and do research on their markets, either by talking to people or checking out market research reports. So make sure you do the market research. The market research is an exercise, and then it's the findings from the exercise that you put in here. You're going to find out what your customers look like, who your competitors are, what your market structure looks like, what is the size of your market, and things like that. So the sections that you're going to do, you're going to populate in your market research. First of all, your industry background. Share an overview of the industry to introduce the trends and key players. So for instance, they have done this here. Is this industry, is it a new business? Is it a rapidly growing business? Is it a maturing business? Do you have any information on the size of the business, the size of the market? So for instance, this entrepreneur was able to state that the size of skincare market in Botswana was estimated at approximately 98 million in 2023. And natural organic products make up 12% of the market. And they got this from Botswana Bureau of Statistics. So this is information that shows that this entrepreneur has done their research. And it's good for you to do your own research in your own industry, in your own country, and go to the Bureau of Statistics if it's available and try and get information on the size of your market share. That shows that you have done your research and you have a fair understanding of what it takes to succeed in your market. You also put information of the annual growth. And if you can get that, it's also good. Include that as well. What are the trends shaping your industry? Who are the main players in the market? For instance, he listed Body Shop, L'Occitane. Those are their main players in the Botswana natural skincare markets. Also, who is your target market? Describe your target market. Who are you targeting? And then they did that here, the demographic. They're targeting women aged 25 to 45, urban professionals, environmental conscious customers. Those are the ones that are using organic and they don't want to use overtly processed products. And if they have secondary segments, they're targeting men as well, because men are also interested in skincare and some of the younger customers. But because it's a premium product, that's why they're targeting women aged 25, because this product is more expensive. It's premium, it's more expensive than what's in the market. So that's why they're targeting women that are already working class women 25 and above. So this is their own understanding that because they know that they are offering a premium product, they have targeted a market segment of women that have that in the workforce, women that have income to spend on this skincare product. Also, if you can do psychographic profile, that's good, but demographic profile is very solid on its own. And what are the things, how does your target market think? Like, what do they value? What are they concerned about? And are they willing to pay premium? Things like that. These are part of what this business listed in market profile, their target market profile. Next, you go to your competitive analysis. Do a competitive analysis. Where a lot of businesses, historically in this program, this is one of the things that businesses have challenges with, entrepreneurs have challenges with in this program. Some of them may not do a complete competitive analysis, or they will say they have no competitors, which cannot be true, because no matter what product you're offering, even if it's very innovative, there is a need that product is, that the need of that product is already being met by one or two, even if it's an indirect competitor. but make sure you do your competitive analysis. And then this is what the competitor analysis look like for this particular competitor. They put the list of their competitors, their strengths, their weaknesses, and how their own competitive edge over this particular competitor that they're looking at. I also noticed, and then that's on this slide. We move to the next slide. And then what we focus on is the SWOT, this next section, SWOT and regulatory analysis. So do a SWOT analysis. This is also another area that we need, entrepreneurs should take very seriously. Analyze your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats, and make sure you do it very well. Try not to put generic opportunity threats, like things that apply to make sure you're not putting threats that just apply across all Africa or across all sectors, but put the threats that are really applicable in your sector. Then regulatory environment. Who regulates your products? For instance, the skincare product for this business, they stated that they operate under regulatory frameworks of Botswana's Bureau of Standards, Ministry of Health, and the company, and also they have to, from an intellectual property standpoint, they answer to the Intellectual Property Authority. And then what are the things that are going to do to ensure compliance? When you populate your regulatory environment, it shows that you have a very strong grasp of your market. I'll move to the next section, organization and management. In this section here, you describe your company's organizational structure. This can be described in a diagram or an organogram, as was used by this business. So you put here managing director, then production manager, and finance and admin, report to managing director, and things like that. Also list your management team. If you have a management team, list the profile of the management team. If you're an idea stage and you do not have a management team, you can just put the profile of who you're going to get on your management team. Once you have the funding to bring on a team, I'm going to look for someone that has 5 years of experience. I'm going to look for someone that has a background in this, in that, and that. So if you do not have a management team, share your ideal profile for your management team. This business has a management team, and so they put the management team profiles here, and they included them. Then management skills. Share the skills and levels of the management team or the key members that will develop. And then finally, you create. So for instance, this business, they listed those that the skills on the team, and they also listed the skills that they need on the team. So areas requiring additional expertise. They need digital marketing skills, they need supply chain skills, they need export market skills. So they're very honest about the gaps, the skill gaps they have, and they stated it clearly. And then finally, state your human resource plan. What's your plan to hire? Share your plan to hire, to train and retain your employees. So for instance, they stated they have a current team now, and then their planned hiring is to add 2 more staff in 3 months' time, 1 manager within 6 months. Based after they get investments, they'll be able to hire more staff. What would they do to train their employee? They stated what they would do to train. They also stated what they would do to retain their employees, because retention is a very strong factor for business success. It's not just enough to hire the right people and train them. You also have to retain them. If not, your business will become a revolving door for talent, and you keep on losing the resources, the human resources you need to deliver good work. At this point, I will pause for translation. So, Nadia, over to you, please.
Thank you. Ok. Então, os capítulos que nós vamos analisar de seguida são a análise do mercado e depois a organização e gestão. Então, no que se refere à análise ou pesquisa do mercado, o que é que você deve apresentar aqui? Bem, deve fazer uma pesquisa concreta, exata do seu país. Não pode pôr dados genéricos de África ou dos países vizinhos, não. A melhor forma é ir ao terreno e buscar essa informação. Não sei como é que é, quão disponível as informações, as estatísticas, enfim, em Moçambique, mas você pode ir entrevistar pessoas, consultar e obter essas informações sobre as tendências do mercado, saber o que está sendo feito, o que está para acontecer, se há alguma lei, alguma política nova que está para acontecer. Quem são os outros outras pessoas importantes neste setor, nessa indústria que você deve se conectar. Portanto, faça o seu trabalho de casa e tente obter dados reais. Como no exemplo aqui, a pessoa indica onde é que ela obteve ou qual foi a fonte de informação que obteve para que procurou para obter essas informações, ok? Então, tenta fazer um detalhe mais preciso possível sobre o mercado, desde o tamanho do mercado, como é que tem sido o crescimento ao longo do tempo, o potencial que existe ali para você crescer ainda, para você agir, os dados demográficos. Se for possível ter dados psicográficos, ótimo, mas se não tiver, basta os dados demográficos, enfim, toda essa informação que você possa ter obviamente, a análise da concorrência também, porque muitas das vezes a senhora aqui chama a atenção que muitos empreendedores dizem que eu não tenho concorrente. Não, não é possível. Você tem sempre concorrente. Nem que seja alguém, um concorrente indireto, mas haverá sempre um concorrente, porque afinal não há nada novo na Terra. Há sempre alguém que já faz alguma coisa que cura a mesma dor que você faz. Então, faça análise do concorrente. Descobre quem são os teus concorrentes para você poder se posicionar acima deles. Ok? Regulações, o que é que existe em termos de leis acerca do seu país? Mas vamos primeiramente falar um pouco sobre análise SWOT. Please, can you move to the next slide? Thank you. Ainda dentro da pesquisa de mercado, análise SWOT, que aqui, mais uma vez, não ponha informação genérica, mas tenta ser o mais concreto possível, mais objetivo, mais relacionado, mostrando que você realmente fez o trabalho de casa, tem conhecimento do seu produto, do seu serviço, da sua área de atuação. Porque este capítulo aqui, enquanto que os capítulos anteriores era baseado no que você tem, dados que você tem, este capítulo é baseado em você ir atrás da informação e poder elaborar. Então, você vai falar sobre fazer um trabalho aqui forte sobre análise SWOT com informações mais concretas possíveis. Next, please. Ok. No que se refere à organização e gestão do seu negócio, você aqui deve apresentar a descrição mais detalhada possível da sua estrutura, ou através de diagrama, ou através de organograma, mostrar qual é a estrutura que você tem para a empresa. E mostrar também, muito importante, a sua equipa de gestão. A equipa de gestão aqui, se você tiver já em operação, obviamente você já tem uma equipa de gestão. Se você está ainda na fase de ideia, você não tem uma equipa de gestão, mas você pretende, sabe o que é que você precisa para o seu negócio, para gerir o seu negócio, então você, de qualquer das formas, tem que apresentar aqui o perfil que você pretende ter. Ou o perfil que já tem, se gestão em operação, o perfil que pretende ter e as habilidades, muito importante descrever as habilidades que você tem na equipa e as habilidades que você precisa ter. Eu já tenho isso, preciso disso. Portanto, habilidades também devem ser capturadas e, essencialmente, não se esquecer do plano de recursos humanos. O que é que você tem agora em termos de recursos humanos? O que é que você pretende vir a ter dentro de um X tempo e qual é o teu plano para reter essa pessoa, esse recurso humano, para não perder o recurso humano que você venha a ter. Porque é importante não só contratar, mas manter aqui. Você não vai gastar, investir em treinar a pessoa e a pessoa depois fugir para outro aqui. Então tem que haver um plano para reter os recursos humanos. Então são estes aspectos a considerar nesses capítulos. Ah, Vamos continuar. Foco, over to you.
Thank you, Nadia. Donc, nous allons maintenant parler de l'étude de marché. Dans votre business plan, vous devez être capable d'indiquer le contexte de votre secteur d'activité, c'est-à-dire qui sont les acteurs, quel est le positionnement que les autres entreprises que vous retrouvez sur le marché, comment est-ce qu'elles sont positionnées, qu'est-ce qu'elles sont en train de faire. C'est ça que vous devez mettre dans le contexte du secteur d'activité. Ensuite, vous devez indiquer quel est votre marché cible. Ici, quand on parle de marché cible, c'est d'indiquer de façon très spécifique quel est l'âge, quelles sont les caractéristiques, quel est le personnel, c'est-à-dire que quoi, quel est le profil exact de celui qui va consommer votre produit tel qu'on l'a défini précédemment. Quel est donc le profil psychographique de ces personnes-là qui vont être votre clientèle? Ça peut être en B2B, ça peut être en B2C. C'est-à-dire que votre client peut être les consommateurs, autant ça peut être plutôt des entreprises qui achètent avant de distribuer, ou ça peut être des grossistes. C'est ça qu'on appelle votre marché cible. Votre produit s'adresse à quel type de personnes, à quel segment de marché. Et pour faire la segmentation du marché, il faut déjà connaître tout le marché global. Vous devez aussi être capable de faire une analyse comparative. C'est-à-dire que quels sont les concurrents, quelles sont vos forces. C'est une analyse souvent qu'on dit analyse des forces et faiblesses et des menaces et des opportunités. Donc, analyse des internes et externes. Lorsque c'est interne, on parlera de forces et faiblesses. Vous devez pouvoir identifier quelles sont vos forces, quelles sont vos faiblesses vis-à-vis de la concurrence et dire comment faire pour mitiger vos faiblesses. Comment faire déjà pour garder vos forces, comment faire pour atténuer vos faiblesses afin que ce soit plutôt un point positif pour vous. Donc, il y a cette analyse comparative que vous devez faire dans votre business plan. Next, please. Donc, à côté de cette analyse comparative, vous avez aussi l'analyse SWOT, où vous allez reprendre vos forces, vos faiblesses, vous allez indiquer quelles sont les opportunités qui s'offrent à tout votre secteur d'activité et surtout, quelles sont les menaces. Ça peut être lié à la régulation, ça peut être à la passivité que vous ayez de nouvelles entrants dans votre activité. Ça, ce n'est pas une bonne chose. Ça peut être la rareté de la matière première. Ce sont des menaces. Et ces menaces, vous les citez en prenant le soin de dire comment vous allez faire pour contourner ça afin de vous en sortir. Il faut aussi indiquer l'environnement légal de votre entreprise. Est-ce qu'il y a des agréments? Est-ce qu'il y a des autorisations administratives à prendre? Vous devez pouvoir indiquer tout cela. Next. Pour ce qui concerne la gestion et l'organisation, vous devez être capable de faire un organigramme de votre entreprise, qui est le directeur général, quel est son profil de carrière, quels sont les différents départements de votre entreprise, production, finance, marketing, commercial, tout ça, la structure organisationnelle de votre entreprise doit pouvoir sortir dans votre business plan. Quelle est l'équipe de gestion? Vous devez indiquer qui est le fondateur, quelles sont ses compétences, faire un profil des personnes acquises, donc des personnes que vous avez déjà au sein de votre entreprise, que vous avez déjà identifiées, vous présentez leur profil, vous présentez les postes qu'ils doivent occuper par rapport à votre organigramme. Vous devez aussi expliquer votre politique de ressources humaines. Comment est-ce que vous allez recruter? Comment faire pour retenir les employés? Quels sont les canaux de recrutement? Est-ce qu'il y a un plan de carrière? Est-ce qu'il y a un suivi? Est-ce qu'il y a des programmes de formation? Est-ce qu'il y a un suivi particulier de chaque employé qui doit être fait? Quelles sont vos stratégies de rétention? Vous devez aussi indiquer quelles sont les compétences des personnes que vous voulez avoir au sein de votre entreprise, surtout au niveau du management. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Foko. So we move on to the next section. But before that, my attention has been drawn to comments about the size of the slides. I have to apologize. The text on the slides, that they're small and not easy to read. I have to apologize for this because we are trying to show an example alongside what you need to do, and we have to put all of it on one slide. That's why we have really small text. But what you can do is take a screenshot of the slide, and then at your convenience, when the session is over, you can look through your screenshots. Also, this session will be recorded. It's being recorded, so it's always going to be available on YouTube, even after now. There are sessions from as far back as 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that are still very much available on YouTube. So you can always go back to this session and take a closer look and a more detailed look at the slides. But the document is not likely the document this presentation will be shared. So I just wanted to set the expectations in terms of distribution of this material after the session. The video recording will be available, but the slide and the deck and the PDF might not be available. So please, let's take screenshots, let's zoom in. The idea is just to be able to see an example so that it's not just theory, we're seeing practical as well. But the complication that has created is that the text is now so small, so apologies for that. We are now moving to the next section, marketing and sales strategy. So in this section, you're going to talk about what you have in the plan you have, because you are not just building a product. It's not just enough to develop a product or a service. You also have to get the word out. You have to advertise. You have to promote. You have to let the world know what you have created, so that customers will know where to see you, where to come and buy. So in your marketing plan, you're sharing your strategy for promoting and selling your product and services. What's your sales strategy? What's your sales product, your sales channels, your sales tactics? What's your pricing strategy? So there's a section for marketing strategy, and then there's another page for sales strategy. That is page 15, page 16. In this example, your own strategy might be up to 2 pages, but this example, their strategies are on 1 page. So for instance, for their marketing plan, they put their strategy for promoting and selling their product. So their core marketing initiatives, they would use digital marketing, they will have a website, they will have social media presence, they will have blogs with content marketing about natural skincare. They will also have email marketing. They will use influencers, just local beauty influencers. They will do community engagements. They will they will facilitate skincare workshops at local community centers. They will participate in beauty or wellness expos. They will demonstrate on university campuses. And then they also believe they can do media coverage in local publications and the like as well. From an advertising and promotion perspective, they plan to do digital ads. They plan to use offline promotion, content marketing. So you can see they spelled out all the tactics that they plan to use. So when you spell out all the tactics that you want to use, it demonstrates that you have thought about your business. You have thought about what you're going to need to do to market, to advertise, to sell, promote your business. So make sure your marketing and sales strategy is as detailed as possible. And it is targeted, is relevant to your product and service. So for instance, make sure your tactics are meeting your customers where they are. If, for instance, your customers don't use social media, maybe you're selling a product to the people that use it, they are not really on social media, it will not really make sense to do social media marketing. So make sure your marketing tactics are targeted to your business and your customers. Then we move to sales strategy. What channels will you use? Because it's a skincare product, they have to think about sales channels, because the channel is the way from which the product is going to leave your house or your factory and it will get to the customer. So for instance, their own sales channels, they have direct to consumer. That means they will put their product on a website. When the customer orders it, pays for it, they will then ship the product from the website to the customer's location. They will also go to weekend markets. That's another way they get close to the customers. Then they will also partner with supermarkets, retail partners, pharmacies, beauty supply stores, and all of that. Those are 2 types of channels, direct to consumer and retail partners. Then they also listed their sales process. They will do lead generation, they will do product demonstration, and the like. Then you also list your pricing strategy, your pricing model. What's your pricing model? The pricing model, the balances, what are the prices they're going to use? So in their pricing model, they have listed their production costs, their wholesale price, their retail price, and the margin for the different products they have. Remember, this business has 2 different products, lotion and black soap. And then they listed the reason for their pricing strategy, what pricing tactics they will use. The next part of marketing and sales strategy, then focus on, you have sold your products. How are you going to support your customers? How are you going to follow up with your customers to make sure that those customers come back for more? They become your advocates. They become your loyal customers. You put your customer support plan here. So what is the customer support plan for your business? This business, they put theirs there. 24-hour response time, post-protect follow-up. What's your growth plan? How you plan to grow your customers? This business also puts their growth plan here. And then finally, unit economics. What's your unit economics? This part involves a bit of calculation, but the calculation is very straightforward. Your unit economics is you're computing what your customer acquisition cost is. What's the average cost you will spend on acquiring one customer? What's your customer lifetime value? What's the average amount of value that you believe one customer will bring from you? And then you do your customer lifetime value to customer acquisition cost ratio. So it's like technical, but if you've never heard of it, nothing to worry about. Just go online. There are so many customer acquisition cost calculators, customer lifetime value calculators, and then you put in your values from your business and it generates the results for you. So you do your unit economics, and then this business has done their unit economics over here. Just very straightforward. We move to the next section, operations plan. Operating plan is how you are going to create the product. You state your operational processes. Because it's a product business, there's a factory, so there's a whole plan, procure, make, test, finalize, fulfill, and distribute and support flow that they will follow. So for plan, supply chain, for produce, production process, for test, quality control, for distribute, order fulfillment, for customer support, all of that. So they listed their processes here. You don't need to make it too detailed, just simple bullet points. What are the key aspects of your process and what are the things you would do? Then you also share your business location and facilities. Again, this is a product business. If you're a service business and you don't have a location or facility, you can just state where you would work from or where you store your inventory. You just make it clear. Don't feel too intimidated if you're seeing sections here that do not apply to your business. Just write what applies for your own business. Then if you're going to use technology and equipment, you also list it here. For this business, they need equipment, mixing stations, testing equipment, all of that. So they listed the equipment they have, and then they listed the equipment they plan to buy. So you do the same. If you don't have any equipment, just list all the equipment you plan to buy. And then they also listed from a supply chain perspective, again, also relevant for a production business like in food, in skincare, in fashion. Where will you source your raw materials, supplier management, how you manage your suppliers, how you manage logistics, any thoughts you have on how you're going to, what you're going to do from a supply chain management perspective, put it there. If you're a services business, you may not really have the supply chain management side of things, so you can skip that part. Then we move on to the final sections of operational plan, quality control. What are your quality control processes? How will you maintain quality assurance? For this business, they said they will use standard operating procedures. They would use batch testing and documentation. They will do regular staff training. They will test their products. And then what's your risk management plan for your operations? So the risks for your operations are very specific. Is your business is your business susceptible to supply chain disruption, quality issues, regulatory changes, cash flow constraints? What are the risks and how do you plan to mitigate them? And then you also, if you can also list your scalability potential. So when you think about what's it going to take for your business to grow, how your business expand product and service delivery as demand grows, you list that here. At this point, I will stop for translations. So Nadia, over to you. You started at marketing and sales strategy.
Ok, então, o próximo capítulo que vamos falar é sobre estratégia de marketing e venda. O que se espera da estratégia de marketing e venda? É basicamente, você tem aqui apresentar duas estratégias. Uma para qual é o plano, qual é a estratégia que você tem para o marketing, e depois um plano ou estratégia que tem para as vendas, enfim. Neste exemplo aqui, nós temos o que é um negócio de beleza, então nós podemos ver que ela aqui fala de uso na estratégia de marketing, fala de usar as redes sociais, de usar influenciadores, ter um engajamento com a comunidade através de apresentar, participar em eventos públicos, fazer amostras na universidade, enfim. Você aqui tem que explicar como é que você vai o que você vai usar para dar a conhecer o seu produto, o seu serviço para o seu cliente. Como é que você pretende chegar até ao público, fazer o público saber que você existe. Pode usar meios diretos ou indiretos, usar formas das redes sociais ou ações mais diretas, como engajar a comunidade, enfim. Obviamente que depende de negócio a negócio. E depois, no que se refere a estratégias de venda, de novo, aqui, ou você escolhe fazer uma venda direta ao consumidor, ou você pretende fazer uma venda a outro negócio, fazer um B2B, você pretende vender a retalhista, enfim, a estratégia que você pretende usar para vender o seu produto deve ser aqui detalhada, ok? E você também deve detalhar aqui a estratégia de preço que você pretende usar. Mais uma vez, se você tem mais do que um produto, você tem que apresentar a estratégia de preço que você pretende usar para cada produto, se for diferente. Se vai usar a mesma estratégia, é a mesma estratégia para todos os seus produtos, então é simples, você só deve explicar essa estratégia, se é a estratégia baseada no custo de produção, se é a estratégia baseada no preço de mercado, enfim ou na qualidade do produto, aquela que for a estratégia, você deve explicar aqui e justificar por que que você escolheu essa estratégia, por que que você vai com essa estratégia. Next, please. Ainda olhando para esse capítulo de marketing e venda, nós temos que, de seguida, vamos falar falamos um pouco ainda dentro do modelo de precificação do seu serviço ou produto. Vamos falar a unidade econômica ou unidade de economia unitária. Depende do termo, como encontrar essa explicação. Isto aqui é um bocado de matemática que vai te determinar, vai te dizer qual é o custo que você tem para adquirir um cliente. Qual é o custo que você tem para reter um cliente? Vocês podem encontrar na internet formas para fazer esse cálculo, para obter este valor. Mas isso é para demonstrar que você entende o custo que você tem em obter um cliente. E depois você tem que, obviamente, olhar para as tuas margens e o teu cliente, de que apoio o cliente pode contar consigo depois de venda. A venda não pode ser o fim da relação com o cliente, não, tem que haver um pós-venda. E esse aí é que é o plano de apoio ao cliente. Qual é o plano de apoio ao cliente que você tem? É uma linha de telefone que o cliente pode ligar para fazer reclamação, solicitar alguma informação, um número do WhatsApp, algum um questionário que deve ser preenchido, enfim, você que sabe, mas você deve apresentar aqui a sua estratégia de apoio ao cliente. E por fim, nós temos aqui a unidade econômica do próprio negócio, e isto basicamente completa este aspecto este capítulo de marketing e venda. Next, please. O próximo nós vamos falar do plano operacional, ou seja, o que é que você faz para criar o seu produto, em termos de mesmo fazer, em termos de processos. Quais são os processos que você usa para poder produzir o seu produto? Apresenta o local de tua instalação. Se você for um serviço que não tem instalação assim de produção, mas certamente que tem uma instalação para armazenar, você indica essa instalação. Não precisa ficar preocupado com o aspecto de que o que eu não tenho um espaço, não, fala da sua localização que conforme existe, sem se preocupar muito que esse não é o aspecto que vai fazer o seu plano não ficar perfeito. Se usa tecnologia para produzir, menciona que tecnologia você usa. Se é equipamentos, que tipo de equipamentos você tem? Se é equipamentos que está em falta, que precisa, tem que apontar também aqui estes equipamentos, a lista de equipamento. Os processos que você usa. Plano o procedimento de operação o padrão, se você tiver o SOP, se diz procedimento operacional padrão, se você tiver algum, você tem que apresentar para assegurar a qualidade do produto. O que é que você faz? Como é que você garante que o teu produto tem sempre a mesma qualidade? Quais são as regras, as políticas internas que você tem para assegurar isso? Deve ser aqui demonstrada. E, obviamente, o que é que você faz em termos de gestão de risco? Se acontecer alguma coisa, como é que você reage? Next, please. Como é que você faz para poder controlar essa situação de risco no seu negócio? Next. Alô? Ok, não faz mal. De qualquer das formas, o próximo slide ia falar de análise de risco, portanto, o que é que você faz, que medidas que você tem para controlar que não aconteça. Por exemplo, se houver para quem está a produzir, se houver um derrame ali, como é que vai fazer para poder controlar a situação? Hello? Am I alone? Am I out?
No, Nadia,
Okay.
you're on. Yeah, you're on.
Okay. Okay, just this
Yeah,
slide.
it was me.
Okay.
It was
Anyway, so so basicamente é isso, e terminamos esse aspecto do plano operacional. Eu vou passar agora, Foco, over to you, please.
Thank you, Nadia. Donc, nous allons maintenant passer au marketing et les stratégies de vente. Dans votre business plan, vous devez bien expliquer quel est votre plan marketing. Et dans cette explication, vous devez indiquer quelles sont les différentes initiatives sur le plan marketing que vous avez mises en place pour implémenter votre entreprise. Ça peut être du marketing digital, ça peut être de l'influence, ça peut être l'engagement de communauté, ça peut être les relations publiques. À côté de cela, vous devez aussi faire les plans de publicité et de la promotion. C'est-à-dire comment est-ce que votre entreprise communique. Ça peut être la publicité digitale, ça peut être la publicité en ligne, ça veut dire sur les panneaux physiques, les supports physiques. Et vous devez aussi indiquer quels sont les contenus marketing que vous allez mettre à disposition dans le cadre de votre projet. Au niveau des stratégies de vente, vous devez indiquer quels sont vos canaux de vente. Est-ce que c'est les ventes directes aux consommateurs? Est-ce que c'est les ventes à travers des distributeurs ou des grossistes, des semi-grossistes? Vous devez indiquer quelle est votre chaîne de distribution. Comment est-ce que vous faites? Quel est votre processus de vente? Comment est-ce que votre projet fait pour arriver chez le client? Comment est-ce que vous faites pour fidéliser la clientèle? Ensuite, vous devez faire la stratégie de tarification. Comment est-ce que vos prix sont fixés? C'est quelque chose qui est connu. Comment est-ce que vos prix sont fixés en fonction, bien évidemment, de votre secteur d'activité? L'étude de marché que vous avez faite précédemment devrait vous indiquer ou vous donner la jugeote sur la fixation de vos prix. Ne croyez pas que c'est aussi évident que ça. Mais quand on est en phase d'idée ou en phase de démarrage d'entreprise, c'est autant de sujets que vous devez pouvoir y apporter une solution, que vous devez pouvoir apporter une solution. Next, please. Donc, comme autre point, c'est votre unité économique, c'est-à-dire comment est-ce que vous faites pour avoir des clients. Cela a un coût, parce qu'il ne faudrait pas qu'un client vous coûte plus cher que ce que vous allez bénéficier sur lui. Comment est-ce que vous faites pour avoir ces clients? Quelles sont les marges que vous avez sur les clients? Comment est-ce que vous gérez le service après-vente? Et bien évidemment, vous devez aussi faire une prévision de prévisionnel, c'est-à-dire quelles sont vos prévisions de vente, la planification et la ventilation de vos ventes, produit par produit ou mois par mois, année par année. Tout ça doit être bien défini afin que votre business plan soit suffisamment clair. Next, please. Pour ce qui concerne le plan d'opération, le plan opérationnel, le plan opérationnel va vous permettre de sortir les éléments clés du processus de votre entreprise. Ça peut être la gestion de la chaîne des approvisionnements. Ça peut être au niveau du processus de production produit par produit. Ça peut être au niveau du contrôle de la qualité, que ce soit la qualité du produit fini ou la qualité de la matière première. Comment est-ce que vous faites pour ne pas avoir des aléas au niveau de votre approvisionnement? Donc, vous devez aussi indiquer comment est-ce que vous faites pour réceptionner les matières premières qui viennent de l'extérieur quand les fournisseurs viennent. Comment est-ce que vous réceptionnez les matières premières? Le support des clients. Quels sont les éléments qui vous permettent de résoudre les problèmes lorsqu'il y a des requêtes au sein de votre entreprise? Concernant la localisation et l'environnement, vous savez qu'en fonction de votre activité, il y a souvent l'étude d'impact environnemental et social que vous devez faire. Vous devez indiquer donc quelles sont vos perspectives sur ce plan-là. Est-ce qu'il y a des voies d'accès pour votre entreprise? Est-ce que votre entreprise est accessible? Que ce soit en termes de personnel qui vient travailler, des fournisseurs ou des clients qui viennent faire des achats, des grossistes. Ça, vous devez indiquer comment est-ce que votre entreprise gère tout ce qui est physique, localisation. Donc, pour ce qui concerne aussi la technologie et les équipements, vous devez indiquer quelle est la technologie que votre entreprise utilise pour pouvoir produire. D'où viennent les équipements? Qui sont les fournisseurs d'équipements? Comment se passe la maintenance? Comment se passe l'approvisionnement de votre usine? Est-ce que la matière première correspond aux produits est-ce que la matière première que vous avez, que vous achetez correspond aux inputs de la machine que vous avez? Voilà autant de choses que vous devez résoudre dans le cadre de votre entreprise. Et pour finir, les fournisseurs, comment est-ce que vous les avez? Est-ce que les produits sont disponibles? Est-ce que les fournisseurs sont accessibles? Quels sont les prix d'achat de votre matière première? La logistique d'approche. Vous faites comment pour que les produits arrivent au sein de votre entreprise? Vous faites comment pour que les produits sortent de votre entreprise? C'est autant de choses que vous devez expliquer. Next, please. OK. Donc, au niveau du contrôle de la qualité, vous devez indiquer quelles sont les mesures, le personnel, les outils qui vous permettent de contrôler et de maîtriser votre production, de gérer les risques. Il doit aussi avoir un plan de gestion des risques au niveau de l'approvisionnement, au niveau de la production, au niveau des changements réglementaires, au niveau de la pression que peut vous mettre la concurrence. Tout ça doit être fait et géré. Quel est votre potentiel de scalabilité? Quel est votre potentiel d'évolutivité de votre entreprise? Votre projet est-il scalable? Très important. Quelles sont vos capacités de production à court, moyen et long terme? Comment est-ce que vous faites pour atteindre la vitesse de croisière? Quelle est votre capacité de production en vitesse de croisière? Quelles sont la flexibilité de votre ressource humaine? Comment est-ce que vous pouvez faire si un personnel est malade? Comment est-ce que vous pouvez faire si une matière manque, une matière première manque ou un adjuvant? Quelles sont vos contraintes d'expansion? Est-ce qu'il y a de l'espace à côté au cas où l'entreprise prend de l'ampleur? Votre système, est-ce qu'il peut facilement être upgradé? Peut-être d'un système artisanal pour un système semi-intégré, semi-industriel ou totalement industriel. Next, thank you.
Thank you, Foko. So we continue with where we stopped and we move to the next section. This section is on funding requests. So the next sections, we have funding requests, we have financial projections, and we have implementation plan, and then appendices. Because we have a section on financial projections, I believe next week, Tuesday, we're not going to spend too much time on financial projections, and we would skip it, and then we would take it in more detail in the Tuesday section, next week, Tuesday section. So funding requests. In this section, you then spell out exactly what you are asking for by way of funding for your business. How much is needed and for what purposes? So for instance, this example business, Natural Glue, they said they're seeking investment of $5,000 to fuel our next group, please. The amount represents minimum viable investments to achieve their immediate scaling objectives. Now, for your business, perhaps you might need, in your business, you actually need maybe more than $5,000, maybe you need $10,000. In this funding request, because this is going to the Tony Melu Foundation, specify the $5,000 and what you will use $5,000 for, what $5,000 can do for you in your business. What are your future funding requirements? So if you need actually $15,000, you indicate $5,000, what's it needed for, then that's whatever you need, whether it's $15,000, $20,000, deduct it from the $5,000 and then put it in your future funding requirement. That, okay, this $5,000, I need it to do this. I need it to scale. I need to buy equipment. I need to hire staff. Well, after 18 months' time, I will need an additional $10,000. So if you have a future funding requirement, you indicate it. But if you do not have, if $5,000 is enough for you, you don't need to indicate a future funding requirement. Then indicate what your expected outcome for your funding is. This funding, when it comes into your business, what's it going to do for your business? So for instance, this example, they indicated economic impact. They believe it's going to create 2 new jobs. You know, job creation is one of the ways we improve our economies at a country level and at a continental level, regional level. So we improve the economy by creating jobs. As business owners, we improve the economy by creating jobs. So economic impact, you're going to create 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever it is, you list it. Then revenue growth, which is a contributor to your country's GDP. That's why it's an economic impact. Whatever your revenue growth is, even if it's $2,000, if it's $20,000, in what time frame, you also list that. Your profit margin improvement. So because of these investments will help you improve your efficiency. If it will help you improve your efficiency, which improves your profits, you include what your profit margin improvement will be. Also, list social impact. Social impact, like things like skills development, like supporting regional suppliers, like promoting sustainable business practices, or even SDG related sustainable development goals that you will be able to drive through your business. You also include that under your social impact. Then for founders equity section, indicate how much equity you as a founder have invested in the business to date. If it's sweat equity, you just indicate that it's sweat equity, that it is not, you've put in effort. Sweat equity means that you've not put in money, but you have been working very hard on this business for maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. That's also a form of equity. So reflect it, that you've invested sweat equity in this business for working on it for 2 years, 3 years, and what you have done. But if you have put in actual financing, you put it also there. So this founder has invested $8,000 in the business to date. They invested $5,000 in initial capital, $2,000 in equipment purchase, $1,000 in product development. Then you go to use of funds. Use of fund is now where you answer the question. This $5,000 you're going to receive, what are you going to use it for? So you break it down. I'm going to spend $2,000 on production equipment. I'm going to spend $1,000 on marketing, $500 on new stuff. Whatever it is, you break it down. So for instance, example business has broken down their use of funds, the category, the amount, and the purpose, they put it there. If you have an exit plan, this one is optional. If you have an exit plan for your business, if your plan is to grow your business, some people, they go into business because they want to grow the business. And then when the business has reached a particular growth, they are able to sell the business off. And the equity investors, they get a check, they get value from that sale. But if you don't have an exit plan for your business, you don't need to put one. You can put your sustainability strategy. How are you going to drive sustainability? How are you going to make sure your business keeps on growing continuously and continuously? And then, so this exit plan that this business puts, and then your funding sources. So share your potential sources of funding, such as investors or loan. The reality is that for some businesses, $5,000 is enough for all they need to do to start, grow, and even to attain some level of skill. From some other businesses, they will need more than $5,000. So you put your funding sources. This is how you're showing that you're thinking very well about your business. It's not going to penalize you. It's not a penalty that you actually need more than $5,000. It's showing that you are thinking very far about your business and how your business is going to deliver value to your country, to the continent. And those are the kind of business entrepreneurs that the Tony Melu Foundation loves to support. So if you have funding, if you have other extended needs of funding, like you are going to approach banks for loans, you are going to approach angel investors, you can list those there. If you don't have it, it's fine. You can also leave it the way it is. Then you state, if you are planning to get a loan, you also state how you repay the debt. That's for those that indicate the additional funding source includes loans. The next section is financial projections. We will do this in detail later on. So you're going to have a financial model that you're going to fill out and populate for your business. But in your business plan, you're also going to indicate your financial projection section. You will see that the text here is very, very small. I will spend more detail on it, but in the business plan Word document, you will still indicate your revenue projections, your pricing structure, your annual revenue projections, your expense projections, your profit and loss. So you're basically going to copy what you have done in the financial model and paste it in here. You do the working, the mathematical calculations in the Excel model, and then you come and paste the results in here. When you're pasting it, please make sure it looks neat. Even though you're pasting it so that it doesn't look too rough. Sometimes some people paste it and then the numbers scatter and all of that. If you are finding that you're pasting it and the numbers are scattering, you can just create it as a tabular format, the way this one has been created here. But make sure when you're pasting it neatly so that the people that are reviewing your business plan, they can see it and they can understand it properly. So you paste your profit and loss statements for the first 3-year projection, cash flow statements, and balance sheets. And then you also do your break-even analysis and estimation. And then finally, you do your implementation plan. In your implementation plan, we're focused on listing the actions or activities that you perform in the first 3 months, in the 6 months, and the 12 months. And then you spell these out and you show them by time buckets. So your first 3 months, what are you going to do? Product expansion? Are you doing market building? Are you doing marketing and sales? Are you doing product development, market penetration, operational scaling, and all of that? And then you do your execution monitoring plan. How are you going to make sure you're answering an execution monitoring plan? You're answering the question, what are you going to do to make sure that you stay on track? Because the idea of a plan, once you do a plan that is extending 12 months, 24 months, sometime in the middle of the 6 months mark, you'll just be doing. You know how business is. It can be very engaging. It takes up all your time. And it's until you look up and you say, oh, wow, 6 months has passed. How have I done on my milestone? Am I still on track? If you don't have a system in place to be sure that as you are going through, as time is passing, you are ensuring that you're on track, then you might actually lose sight of your milestones. So you indicate, what system am I going to put in place to make sure I'm on track? So for instance, Natural Growth, this is example business. They said they're going to do weekly operational reviews. They're going to do monthly financial reviews. They will check their revenue against projections, check their cash flow. They will do quarterly strategic reviews. So they've said they're going to set out time every week, every month, every quarter to check that they are making progress against their milestones. And then what tools do they use? Would they have a project management tool like Monday, ClickUp, Asana? Whatever they would use, they listed it there. So put in an execution monitoring plan that shows that you're thinking about how you are going to make sure you stay on track. And then finally, you put in your milestone tracking, your key milestones, the target date of the milestone, and the measure of success. What is the thing you see? When you see it, you will know you have met your milestone. That's what that section is about. The final section is appendices, and I'll pause for translation. I saw a question on unit economics, so when I come back after translations, we would discuss that as well. But for now, over to you, Nadia, for translations.
Thank you. Então, a próxima sessão que nós vamos ver é sobre pedido de financiamento. E a secção após esta aqui fala da projeção financeira, não vai ser aqui tratada porque vai haver na próxima semana um webinar somente para trabalhar na projeção financeira, conforme já foi dito, portanto, não adianta perder mais tempo aqui a falar nisso, uma vez que vai haver essa sessão somente nesse aspecto. Então, aqui o que é que se pretende que seja incluído? É basicamente você dizer qual é a sua necessidade de fundo. Obviamente que a necessidade de fundo pode ser mais do que os 5.000 que a fundação vai ceder. Nesse caso, você tem que escrever a sua necessidade de fundo e depois quebrar, dizer, não é? Os 5.000 da fundação, como é que vão ser usados? Ou para que você pretende? E colocar como futura necessidade de fundo o valor adicional que você precisa. Portanto, é preciso, aqui, o detalhe tem que ser sobre os tais 5.000 que você vai receber, como é que você pretende usá-lo, quais são os benefícios que ele vai trazer para ti, ou como é que você vai investir no seu negócio. E, obviamente, que se ele não é todo o dinheiro que você precisa, você tem que mencionar a necessidade futura para o fundo. Você aqui também deve indicar o que é que a empresa tem, ok? Basicamente, em termos de equidade da empresa. E o que o fundo vai trazer em troca, ou o que benefício vai trazer? Vai trazer mais criação de emprego, vai trazer, ou- vai criar mais lucro, enfim, o impacto que esse fundo vai causar no seu negócio deve ser aqui capturado, porque esse impacto é que deve ser avaliado para se eventualmente no futuro saber o que aconteceu, realmente aconteceu isso que você projetava e qual é o impacto que esse dinheiro trouxe para a sua economia e para a economia do país, ok? Você deve também, aqui, se for o caso de que tem uma ideia ou um plano de saída, não é? Se pretende no futuro vender a empresa ou passar para terceiros, você deve aqui colocar. Se não tem, não é relevante, ok? E quando você está a falar da equidade da empresa, o que a empresa tem, você deve especificar exatamente de onde é que está vir cada porção desta equidade. Se há empréstimos, deve mencionar. Se há doações, se há valores próprios, tudo isso deve estar aqui bem detalhado. Como vocês veem aqui no exemplo deste negócio que nós temos estado a falar, não é? De Botswana, de negócio de cosméticos. Next, please. um, Financial position, we are not going to go deep in it, né? Então, aqui, conforme disse, o aspectos de posição financeira será detalhado na próxima sessão, na próxima semana, nós não vamos muito falar sobre isso. Então, please go ahead, next. Vamos falar mais aqui do plano de implementação. Como é que é o que é o plano de implementação? O que é que você deve ter aqui? Bem, aqui basicamente é onde você deve detalhar as atividades chaves que você pretende alcançar no seu negócio nos próximos 3 meses, 6 meses, até um ano. Quer dizer, você vai para aqui uma série de marcos significativos para o seu negócio, aos 3 meses, aos 6 meses, a um ano. E também você deve ter plano de monitoração desses marcos, não é? E qual é o plano como é que você vai monitorar esses marcos? Saber se foram alcançados ou não. Tem que haver, não basta apenas criar marcos, estabelecer marcos, mas é preciso monitorar esses marcos para ver se você tem estado a alcançá-lo para depois passar para o próximo, porque senão não faz sentido. E obviamente que aqui também podem ter os indicadores de performance, os indicadores de desempenho que o seu negócio, o negócio possa ter. E obviamente que a monitoração de tudo isso é muito importante. Você quando faz os marcos, eles devem ser também pensar em coisas alcançáveis, coisas que realmente podem ser alcançadas nesse tempo, para que você depois possa voltar atrás e olhar para esse marco e dizer, ok, foi alcançado por um bom ou não foi alcançado, por que que não foi alcançado? Não basta só escrever coisas bonitas, mas escrever coisas que realmente fazem sentido e coisas que você realmente consegue atingir. E o plano de monitorização é muito importante. Esse plano vai poder ajudá-lo, orientá-lo em relação a esse marco. Esse plano pode ser semanal, mensal ou combinação de ambos e até quaternal e eventualmente de 6 em 6 meses. Mas a verdade é que tem que haver esse plano e que esse plano deve ser avaliado e registrado e tê-lo como referência. Portanto, você tem que ter aqui o plano para depois você poder executá-lo na prática. Next, I think this is the last slide. Yeah.
Yes, it's the last one for
Yeah,
now. So
okay,
Foco,
yeah.
over to you. Yeah.
Foco, over to you.
Donc, nous allons maintenant vous expliquer comment est-ce que vous allez gérer votre besoin en financement, votre requête de financement. Dans votre business plan, vous devez donc, de façon très importante, dire exactement quel est votre besoin. Ici, Dans l'exercice, vous allez partir sur l'utilisation des 5 000 $ pour la croissance de votre entreprise. Et pour cela, donc, vous devez indiquer exactement ce dont vous avez besoin pour financer les 5 000 $. Et bien évidemment, à travers le fichier Excel sur lequel on vous formera, vous comprendrez qu'il y a d'autres sources de financement. Donc, 5 000 $, c'est la subvention de la fondation, mais il y a d'autres sources de financement comme votre apport personnel, comme des prêts. Mais il est question pour vous de bien expliquer afin que l'investisseur puisse comprendre. Bien évidemment, vous devez aussi indiquer qu'est-ce qu'on vous attend, qu'est-ce que l'investissement que vous allez faire doit générer en termes d'impact économique, en termes d'impact social. Et je l'ai dit, au niveau de la prise de participation, on a pris un exemple, le fondeur equity. Quelles sont les autres personnes qui mettent de l'argent dans votre entreprise? À part les 5 000 initiales, il y a aussi, à part les 5 000 initiales, il y a aussi dans l'exemple 2 000 et 1 000 francs de produits, de développement de produits. Donc, toujours en termes de l'utilisation des fonds, vous devez indiquer comment est-ce que vous allez utiliser les 5 000 $. Ça peut être pour les équipements, ça peut être pour le marketing digital, ça peut être pour l'amélioration de la production, ça peut être pour le fonds de roulement, ça dépend de vous. Expliquez aussi le plan d'exit, c'est-à-dire comment est-ce que les investisseurs récupèrent leur argent qu'ils mettent chez vous. Est-ce qu'après que les investisseurs soient sortis, l'entreprise meurt? Non, bien évidemment. Alors, montrez comment l'entreprise va perdurer après les investisseurs. Et pour finir, vous indiquez quelles sont les différentes sources de financement. Next, please. Next. OK. Le tableau des projections financières. Donc, il y a un tableau, please, can you go back? On va vous en donner un fichier Excel. Dans ce fichier Excel, vous allez entrer les données qui vont vous générer des résultats. Ces résultats-là que le logiciel va générer, vous allez les screenshotter pour venir mettre dans votre business plan. À ce moment-là, tout ce qui va être ici, ça peut être le tableau des revenus, donc le chiffre d'affaires. Comment est-ce que le prix, le chiffre d'affaires, le volume des ventes annuel, année après année. C'est le fichier Excel qui doit vous donner ça. Les coûts variables, donc c'est des éléments pour lesquels vous aurez un coût spécial. Je ne vais pas beaucoup m'attarder là-bas. Le compte de pertes et profits. Comment est-ce que vous allez faire les bénéfices ou bien est-ce qu'il y a des pertes? Le tableau, la capacité d'autofinancement. Tous ces tableaux-ci viennent du fichier Excel. Next, please. Le bilan, pour finir, vous avez le bilan de votre entreprise qui est toujours généré par le fichier Excel. Dans ce bilan-là, vous avez les besoins en financement et les ressources en financement. Vous avez l'actif, vous avez le passif. Vous devez aussi calculer votre seuil de rentabilité. Et le seuil de rentabilité, tout ça est généré par le fichier Excel qu'on va vous donner et sur lequel on vous formera. Thank you. OK, le plan d'implémentation, c'est la mise en œuvre. La mise en œuvre de votre projet. Vous devez indiquer les dates clés, les actions clés. Après 3 mois, on est à quel niveau en termes de construction, en termes d'achat de machines, en termes de formation du personnel. Après 6 mois, on est à tel niveau. On vous aura tous ces documents, c'est en français et vous allez mieux lire pour pouvoir expliquer. Après 12 mois, quel est le niveau qu'on aura atteint? Comment est-ce qu'on fait le suivi de l'exécution de notre plan? Est-ce que toutes les semaines, il y a des réunions? Est-ce que c'est tous les mois? Vous devez indiquer ça dans votre business plan. Quelles sont les étapes clés de votre business, de votre activité? Après 1 an, vous devez être à quel niveau? Après 2 mois, après 3 mois, après 6 mois, vous devez être à quel niveau? Tout ça, vous indiquez ça dans votre business plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Foko. So what I'm going to do now, before I proceed to appendix, is just to take a few questions that have been dropped on the chat window. And if you have any questions, please drop them so that we address them in the Q&A section, because after this section, we're going into the Q&A section. So there was a question on unit economics, and that is shedding more light on unit economics. What does it mean, and what how is it computed? So unit economics is just a way of asking for every single customer or products, every product I sell or every customer I handle, do I make money or lose money? And then unit economics is just an approach that instead of looking at all the costs you incur versus all the customers you bring on board, you zoom it into one unit, that is one order, one product unit, and then you check if that unit is profitable. So if each unit loses money, selling more will only make the business fail faster. But if each unit makes money, you can confidently grow. So computing it, you are comparing two main numbers: unit revenues, how much you earn on one customer or sale, and then your unit cost, that's how much it costs you to serve that one customer or sale. And then the simple formula is unit revenue minus unit cost. But that is the simple logic on unit economics. When we now think about customer acquisition cost and customer lifetime value, we take each customer and we say, for an average customer that you are going to acquire, what's all the cost you will spend? For instance, let's say you use three marketing tactics. You do ads on social media, you do digital marketing, and then maybe you do influencer marketing. And then you for those three approaches, you spend $800. And then for those $800, you acquire in that same period, maybe you do those three marketing tactics between March to June 2026. And in that period, you get 100 customers. You spent $800 and then you got 100 customers. That means your cost per acquisition, your customer acquisition costs is $800 divided by 100 customers, which will give you $8. That's the simple way of doing your cost of acquisition. But because people spend money in different places, so that math is not usually as simple as that. You have to compute, you have to identify this unit in time, whether it is the money spent for a particular month or for a particular quarter, particular year, and then the customers that came in that particular period. And then you divide the costs by the number of customers. That gives you your cost of acquisition. Customer lifetime value. This is an estimation of how much you can gain from a particular customer that comes on board. So for instance, let's say you're selling cooking stove, you're selling clean stoves. But as you're selling the clean stove, you also have another line of business where you sell the clean fuel as well. So the customer will come and buy the clean stove maybe at $50, and then on maybe a quarterly basis or monthly basis, they are going to buy the clean fuel, and maybe that costs $5. So the clean stove, $50, the clean fuel, $5 monthly. $5 monthly is $60 annually. $50 plus $60, that's $110. That's the first year. But in the subsequent years, they'll be sending $60 for fuel. So that is 110 plus 60. That is in 2 years. Let's assume that they use the clean stove for 2 years, and then after 2 years they have to change it, or they go and do something else. But I know clean stoves last for more than 2 years, but just to keep the mathematics simple. So what's the year one cost? That is what year one value, revenue that they brought. They bought the stove, they bought the fuel, that cost $110. Year two, they bought just the fuel, $50, $460. So that customer's lifetime value is $160. Why we call it lifetime value. So if your clean stove will last up to 5 years, you take that $60 and you multiply it by 5. If it will last 10 years, $60 by 10. But essentially, what's the total amount of money that one customer will likely spend in my business? And for some other businesses, so I'm giving an example of stove and fuel that you can estimate, okay, this is how long this customer will keep on buying. For some other businesses, you cannot do that guarantee. Maybe the customer buys it one time and they leave. So if your product that you're selling is a one-time product, then you just take, okay, one-time product, they buy it $5. So that customer's lifetime value, you estimate it as $5. They're not coming back to buy it again. Also, in certain scenarios, you have to account for customer retention. So like that clean stove, it's not all the customers that will use it for that 2 years. Maybe some customers will drop off. So you estimate that if 30% drop off, this is what you now deduct that 30% from your total customer lifetime value. So that is what the computation for unit economics looks like. And now move on to the next question. There was someone that dropped the question that they registered when they were filling the application, they indicated their idea stage, but they've actually been operating informally as a startup, and it's because they just did their registration. That's why they indicated their idea stage. So in the business plan, reflect all the things you've done, whether formally or informally, because it is what demonstrates that your experience is what your experience, your familiarity, your skills, your knowledge, your capacity, all the things you've learned from running the project, your business, even informally, is what sets you apart, is what gives us the confidence that you are an entrepreneur that is going to make an impact. So fill out the sections with all the information that you have gathered, even while running the business informally. So let it reflect the wealth and the depth of what you know and what you have been doing in your business. Then I saw another question. Can we take photos of financial plan templates and paste it? Because say you cannot copy or paste. If you're going to take a picture, just make sure it's a neat picture. Don't let it be stretched. Don't let it be dragged out. Make sure it's a picture that the digits are visible. A picture that people can read the numbers, they can read what you have put in the picture. Just make sure the picture is clear if you're going to use a picture. I will pause now for translations, and then after this, we'll go to the appendix section, which is a very short section. So Nadia, over to you.
Thank you. I will not drag on to unit economics because they can go and search it. Ok,
Okay.
então, respondendo, antes de nós passarmos para a secção a seguir, a senhora estava aqui a tentar responder algumas questões que foram levantadas no grupo. Uma das questões é sobre como se calcula a economia unitária. E ela esteve aqui a explicar e muito bem em detalhes, com exemplos, que eu não vou fazer, não vou conseguir traduzir tudo o que ela falou. O que eu aconselho é que vocês busquem na internet, que há toda a informação de como fazer esse cálculo e poderão encontrar esses detalhes. Passando a outra questão que foi levantada, é alguém que diz que quando fez a candidatura, colocou o negócio como se o negócio estivesse na fase da ideação, mas na verdade ela já vem em operação há algum tempo, só que, no entanto, o negócio não era formalizado. E por isso agora está com receio de como é que deve capturar isso no plano de negócio. O conselho aqui da senhora é que, se você tem alguma experiência, se você já vem em operação há algum tempo, mesmo que não tenha sido formalizado, captura essa informação no seu plano de negócio, porque isso vai dar mais peso, justificando que você já tem experiência, já vem a fazer a coisa, já cometeu erro, já superou, então isso só pode jogar a seu favor. Portanto, se tens dados arquivados, usa os teus dados, não importa se a empresa não estava ainda registrada, ok? A última questão que foi abordada, que foi levantada, era sobre a projeção financeira. Alguém perguntava se que é recomendado, que se não é recomendado que se coloquem foto no plano de negócio, e eu estava a perguntar então como fazer. E aqui a recomendação é de que, se você vai fazer uma foto do Excel, do plano, do mapa financeiro que vai ser trabalhado na próxima semana, né? Que vai ser apresentado a vocês na próxima semana, se vocês tiverem que fazer uma foto desse plano, dos vossos resultados, das vossas projeções, então que a foto seja nítida. Que a foto seja uma foto que a pessoa, ao ver o plano de negócio, consiga ver os números, ler os números e fazer sentido da coisa. Se for uma foto distorcida, uma foto com pouco foco, não vale a pena, ok? Então, basicamente são essas as questões que foram respondidas por agora. E depois da próxima tradução, nós vamos passar ao último capítulo, que é o apêndice. Foco, over to you.
Thank you, Nadia. OK, donc, pour ce qui est du plan d'implémentation, tout à l'heure, donc, il est question pour vous de suivre la mise en œuvre de votre projet. La mise en œuvre mois par mois, trimestre par trimestre, avec des indicateurs qui peuvent être comment a évolué la production, comment a évolué la construction de l'équipe, comment a évolué le marketing et les ventes. Et ça va être fait avec des actions clés qui ont été définies à la base. Dans le cadre de votre business plan, vous devez donc indiquer ces actions-là. Comment les choses auront évolué. Et pour le suivre, avec cette publicité.
I don't know if it's me, but focus sound is going in and out.
Yeah, I think Omar, please continue. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I will proceed now to the appendix. So in the appendix section is where you just add any additional information that you have not reflected in your main in the main business plan. So here you have the opportunity to include resume of key personnel. If you have a team and of people working for you, put their resume. If it's just you, put your own resume and make sure that the resume you're putting is highlighting the experience you have, the education that you have, the skills that you have that is relevant to your business. Then you can also reflect your permits, any permits and licenses. If you've gotten licenses, permits for the business, like your business registration, tax registration, you can put them there. You can put screenshots, pictures of the business registration, or you can just even indicate it, just indicate the details, indicate your registration number, indicate the authority that issued it for you, the date you got it, and then the validity. I've highlighted here an example of how this business, Natural Glue, has summarized their permits and licenses. And then you can also, if you have applications, permits and licenses that you have applied for, you've not yet gotten them, you can also put in pending applications. So this business listed their pending applications as well. The other thing you can do in your appendix section, you indicate your incorporation docs, documentation, your contacts, your contracts, any contracts and agreements that you've signed with maybe suppliers or for distribution, for delivery, for design. You indicate these, indicate your contracts and agreements. Then if you have pictures of your products, you can also put them here. For example, they put here the picture of the product. Please make sure you're putting real pictures of your products. Avoid using stock imagery or AI generated imagery. Put real pictures of your products. If you don't have real pictures, it's fine. It's better you don't put any picture than you put a picture that is not from your business. Then if you have customer testimonials that you can list, you also put those as well. I believe that brings us to the end of this presentation. This brings us to the end. This is all that we have in the appendix section. So I will pause now for translations and I will go back. We still have some time for Q&A. After this translation, if we see any additional questions, we'll just take them and then we'll bring this session to a close. Thank you.
Thank you. Ok, então, finalmente no último capítulo, que é o anexo, que é basicamente onde você coloca todas as outras documentações, toda outra informação que você não conseguiu enquadrar nos capítulos anteriores. Então, aqui é onde começa a diretriz, diz a primeira coisa é o resumo, ou seja, os currículos do pessoal-chave. Não precisa ser toda a equipa, mas as pessoas-chave. E com esses resumos devem especificar as habilidades chaves que têm a ver com o seu negócio, ou seja, aquelas habilidades que vai fazer com que mostre que a sua equipe é forte e a sua equipe é capaz. Então, você coloca isso aqui. Também, a seguir, fala de permissões, licenças, e autorizações. Basicamente, isso depende de negócios. Há negócios, por exemplo, se alguém tiver num negócio do setor da educação, para além de ter o registro formal da empresa, ele terá que ter alguma licença do Ministério da Educação, por exemplo. Então, é aqui que ele deve colocar essa informação, esse tipo de licença. Pode ser fazer uma foto e colocar aqui, desde que a foto seja visível, ou pode ser basicamente colocarem aqui a informação de dizer o número de licença, a validade, a entidade que emitiu, enfim. E, obviamente, também se tiver alguma licença, alguma permissão, alguma autorização pendente que está para ser aprovada, também deve ser indicada aqui, com detalhe de qual é a organização que deve aprovar, quando é que emitiram esse pedido, enfim. Basicamente, este tipo de informação deve estar cá. A seguir, next, please. Nós temos os documentos da empresa em si. Ok, todos os documentos que mostram que a empresa está legalizada, é formal. Deve aparecer aqui. Se, mais uma vez, você pode pôr uma foto, se tiver legível, se for legível, ou então pode simplesmente indicar o número de certificação, a data, que foi constituída, o tipo de constituição, enfim. Basicamente, essa informação sobre a legalização da empresa. E também deve incluir aqui contratos, contratos que tenham com fornecedores, com possíveis clientes, alguma forma de acordo que tenham, quer dizer, todo legal que a empresa tenha, que possa dar peso ao seu plano de negócio, deve aparecer aqui. De seguida, nós temos fotos ou imagens do produto. Se você tiver imagens do teu produto, imagens reais do teu produto, aqui é uma ênfase de não usar imagem do produto do outro ou imagem gerada pela inteligência artificial, mas imagem real do seu produto, coloca aqui. Se for para colocar uma imagem falsa, uma imagem gerada por IA, é melhor não colocar. Essa é a recomendação. E também, se tiver testemunhos de clientes, você pode colocar aqui alguns testemunhos para dar peso ao seu plano de negócio. E assim chegamos ao fim, ao último capítulo, e daqui vamos responder de seguida a mais algumas questões. Obrigada. Foco over to you.
Monsieur, bien. Donc, la dernière partie que nous allons voir aujourd'hui parle des annexes. Dans les annexes, les questions pour vous de mettre ensemble un ensemble de documents qui vous ont permis de faire votre business plan. Et ces éléments-là sont diversifiés. Vous avez par exemple un résumé du personnel, les personnels clés, vous mettez leur CV, vous mettez les profils, vous mettez les compétences. J'ai vu, c'est bien des documents à part qu'on met en annexe. Vous pouvez aussi mettre les permis et les licences que vous avez obtenus, tout ce qui est agrément que vous avez eu à obtenir, ou bien que vous obtiendrez. Donc, ça peut être le document qui explique un agrément ou une licence que vous allez obtenir plus tard. Bref, c'est des éléments qui vous ont permis de faire votre business plan. Vous les mettez en annexe. Next, please. Next. Donc, vous avez aussi les documents légaux de l'entreprise, ça veut dire le registre de commerce, le statut, le registre de commerce, le statut, les documents qui ont permis de créer l'entreprise. Ça peut être le document de la taxe, la carte des contribuables, ainsi de suite. C'est des choses que vous devez toujours mettre en annexe de votre business plan pour permettre que les autres comprennent que votre entreprise est totalement légale. Vous devez aussi mettre certains contrats, certains agréments. Si vous avez été agréé dans une société comme fournisseur, vous devez mettre le contrat d'agrément. Si vous avez eu certains contrats passés ou contrats futurs, si vous avez des aspirations vis-à-vis d'une entreprise, vous pouvez mettre en annexe les conditions pour être agréé dans cette entreprise-là comme fournisseur. Voilà autant d'éléments qui viennent nourrir votre business plan. Et pour finir, vous avez aussi les photos des produits que vous pouvez mettre en annexe, ainsi que les témoignages que vous avez obtenu des clients, des fournisseurs, bref, des parties prenantes de l'entreprise. Thank you. Over to you, Moyomi.
Thank you, Foko. So we'll just take the last set of questions. I noticed we've not had any questions since the last set. There was one around facility costs and what does it entail. So your facility costs is for if you have a factory or you have a place that you're developing your product. These are your overheads. How much are you spending on rent? How much are you spending on maintenance for your equipment? How much are you spending on utilities, for electricity, for water, for gas, for internet? How much are you spending on utilities? How much are you spending on maintenance of your facility for cleaning and maintenance? So you can think about it as your rent, your utilities, and your maintenance costs. I also saw a question, is cost of production the same thing as facility costs? Cost of production is more, facility cost is inside the cost of production, but they're not the same thing. So your cost of production would then include things like how much you're paying the people that are working in your factory or facility. You will also include things like your raw material cost as well. So they are not the same thing. Facility cost is one of the components of cost of production. So they're not the same thing. Your production cost will be more than your facility cost. I saw another question that the budget, must it be within $5,000? We explained in the section on funding requests that it's very possible that your business needs more than $5,000. So there's a section for your funding requests. So you will ask for $5,000. You will spell out all the things that you can do in your business with $5,000. There's also another section for future funding requirements. So if you need more than that $5,000, whatever else you need, you spell it out, whether it's 10,000, whether 1,000, and you spell out what you will do with that additional need that you have. So you indicate the extended budget in a very clear manner. Then there was, if I'm building livestock units, am I in the growth phase? I'm not sure if I understood the question well, because if you are building, you're clearly in the growth phase. I don't know whether you wanted to say idea phase. So if you're already in the market, you're already creating your product, you've already started selling your product, you're considered a growth stage business. The idea stage businesses are the ones that still have concepts, but they've not yet acquired their first customer. They may still be in the process of creating their product. There's also a testing stage. I don't know if there's still a testing stage, but idea and growth stage, that's how they differentiate themselves. There's some stages in between, but idea and growth stage, that's how you're differentiated. I will pause now for translations because I think that brings me to the end of questions. I'll pause here for translations.
Thank you. Ok, então vamos responder
The questions were, what does facility costs entail? Is production cost different from facility cost? Must my budget be within $5,000? And I'm building livestock units. Am I in growth phase? All right.
Ok.
Nadia, over to you.
Thank you. Ok, então as questões a seguir foram colocadas. A primeira é que alguém queria saber o que é o custo de instalação. Então, a explicação aqui dada, custo de instalação tem a ver com todo o custo associado à tua instalação. Seja renda, se você paga renda, custo de operar as máquinas, se você tem máquinas ali que tem certo custo, custo dos bens como eletricidade, a água, a internet, custo de limpeza, enfim, todos esses custos que justificam, que enquadram-se como custo de instalação. Depois, a pergunta a seguir é relacionada à sua pergunta se custo de produção é o mesmo que custo de instalação. Não, não é a mesma coisa. O custo de produção inclui o custo de instalação, mas há outros custos adicionais, não é? Custo de produção tem a ver com você pagou trabalhador para para produzir, você pagou, tem outro qualquer custo adicional que está dentro para você obter o teu produto final. Portanto, o custo de produção é maior normalmente do que o custo de instalação, ok? Portanto, são diferentes. Outra questão levantada é um assunto que aqui já foi abordado, que a pessoa diz que se a minha necessidade é mais do que 5.000 dólares, como expressar? Como já foi dito assim, vocês, se precisam de mais do que 5.000 dólares para o vosso negócio, vocês têm aqui que fazer duas explicações, basicamente, no que se refere à vossa necessidade financeira. Primeiro, dizem qual é a necessidade total e depois, se essa necessidade é de 10 ou 15, ok? Depois dizem qual é tiram este valor, subtraem 5.000, os 5.000 que vocês estão seguros, já sabem que vão receber da fundação e detalham o que é que vocês vão usar esses 5.000 para. Como é que vocês vão gastar esses 5.000? Aquisição de equipamento, contratação de equipa, desenvolvimento de qualquer coisa, e, portanto, detalham os 5.000. E depois põem como custo adicional para o futuro, ok? Nesse caso, dizemos se era 15.000, menos 5.000, ficam 10.000, esses 10.000, e vocês dizem para que vão precisar desses 10.000, e daqui a um ano, daqui a um mês, daqui a 10 anos, para X e Y, Z. Portanto, aqui vocês têm que saber detalhar. Os 5.000 é o que vocês vão receber, que é seguro, os outros é o necessidade futura. E depois há outra questão que não ficou muito bem clara sobre ideia e fase de crescimento. Se você está na fase de ideia, quer dizer que você ainda não implementou o negócio, quer dizer que o negócio ainda é uma ideia ou está agora a ser transferido, passar para a realidade. Enquanto que a fase de crescimento, você já está a produzir, já está a vender, já está no mercado. Ok? Basicamente foram essas as questões levantadas. Obrigado. Foucault, over to you. Can't see Foucault here. I think Foucault is not around. So maybe Bokun or Aisha.
Thank you very much, Omomi and Nadia and Foucault, for the translation, and Omomi for a very extensive, impactful, and very enlightening presentation, business plan presentation, very, very comprehensive. A lot of the entrepreneurs in the chat have been saying it's very detailed. However, one question they have requested for is the presentation. They want to have a copy of the presentation so that they can use this as a guide whilst they're developing their cohesive business plan. And again, taking into consideration all the learnings from the training, from other masterclasses that they're going to participate in. So they want to know if they can get a copy of the presentation. So we'd like to hear from you, Mommy, if this is possible. Maybe share a version that applies to them and a version that they can use as a guide as they start to develop their business plan. So over to your mom.
Yes, I can definitely make this available. I mean, it was at discretion of the foundation, but if the foundation is fine to share this, I can make this document available.
Okay, all right. Okay, so our women entrepreneurs here, you've heard it. So we're going to share this presentation with you before the end of the day, just so you can use it as a guide as you start to develop your business plan. Again, I would also, implore everyone to please join the next session because it's also equally important, which is really going to be focused on financial understanding, how to, just put together your financials as you start to launch and run a successful business. So it's important that you attend this session. So again, thank you so much, Omomi, for taking out time to facilitate this session. And thank you, Nadia, for taking out time. So just to provide more updates to the women before we close the session is the training we plan to close the training on the 31st of March. However, we have given considerations to people who are yet to complete the training and those that are yet to start. We've sent you reminders. So please, the training will now end on the 8th of April. and this is the final and last extension we're giving. So please, if you know anyone that is yet to start their training, the green business training, the business management training, or yet to complete it, please let them know that we have given one more extension till the 8th of April, after which we will no longer give an extension and the training portal will close. And also to mention that only participants that complete the training, and I mean both trainings, the business management training and the green business training, will be eligible to submit their cohesive business plan, financial reporting, and of course, the 2 to 3 minute speech video. So please take advantage of this extension. If you are yet to complete your training, kindly do so on or before 8th of April. So you stand a chance to submit your business plan, financials, and pitch video. We will also be having other masterclasses aside from the financials, understanding your financial projection. We'll be having another masterclass. So we'll be sending that to you via email. Please just ensure that you're joining all these masterclasses, you're taking all the learnings from it, and you're using it to, also put together your business, structure your business better, your green business better. So again, in the absence of no other question, we will now end the session for today. So thank you again for joining. It was very interesting, impactful, and we look forward to having Omomi take us on understanding your financial projections next week. So same time next week, or maybe not same time, 1 p.m. next week. We would also send emails. We would meet you women again, and of course, Omomi, Nadia, and Foko. So thank you all. Thank you very much for joining the session. Have a nice day and weekend. Bye. Thank you so much, Omomi. We truly appreciate your support.
Yes, it's my pleasure. And thanks once again. And bye, everyone.
All right, bye.